everybody. Welcome to another exciting Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants broadcast, our first of this last and final month of the school year in June. Thank you all to all our amazing teachers. You guys have been joining us all year long. We have done over 500 broadcasts and starting in early September, and it has been a wild ride bringing you some of the coolest scientists, explorers, and adventures on this planet. Now, today we are back with one of our very favorite groups, the group that has joined us, in fact, for more programs than any other in our 7 years of operation. That is the Toucan Rescue Ranch. And there's a frog in my throat, and that's a different kind of animal. We are heading to the Toucan Rescue Ranch, joining us in Costa Rica today. They do such incredible work rescuing, rehabilitating, and re-releasing injured wildlife, as well as being ambassadors for the amazing creatures that live in Costa Rica. You can check out their site, their social media below. We have done so many programs with them that exist on our YouTube channel as well, if you want to explore more of the amazing creatures they have there. But today, for our last program of this school year with them, we are going to learn a little bit more about sloths. And so I'm going to take you guys in with Isaac, who's joining us live at the ranch to take us on a little journey around. And then I'm so excited for your questions when we're done. Isaac, thank you so much for being a part today, man.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Jesse, actually.
Awesome. Well, take us around. I can't wait to see more.
For sure, yeah. All right. So yeah, as Jesse said, my name is Isaac. So I've been working here since April of the past year, over a year by now. Time passed quite fast here. And yeah, as Jesse said as well, we are a rescue center and a wildlife sanctuary. Our focus as a rescue center is to rescue, rehabilitate, and rewild animals with special conditions, such as injuries or animals that has been kept as pets and depends on humans. Now, sadly, sometimes for some reason we cannot rewild an animal. In those cases, we will try to give that animal the best quality of life in our facilities. So today we're going to see some sloths. Since the 2007, we started working with sloths, and yeah, we specialize with these animals. And yeah, actually, I'm going to switch the camera now, so we can start with the sloths. All right, guess those are the start.
All right, moment of truth.
Okay,
take your time, Isaac. This is always fun for people the first time.
All right.
Wants to work. I'll let you know when it registers. There we go.
All right. Awesome. There you can see it. So this big guy is Ty, and I always like to show Ty because he has the bigger teeth in this place. And yeah, with sloths, I always say that there's this huge misconception about them. People usually picture sloths as adorable and slow animals, and well, they're adorable and they're the slowest mammal in the world, that's a fact. But I do not like to call them slow, and definitely I don't want to mess with any sloth. So as I just said, these animals, they have huge canine teeth. Those things are quite dangerous and sharp, and we need to be very careful when we work with sloths. So yeah, these animals, they are folivores. This means that they eat mostly foliage, mostly leaves. That's an advantage in some part because where they live in the tropical rainforest, there are leaves everywhere. So basically, they're never going to run out of food. But as well, there is no competition. No one wants to eat leaves. That's because it has its downsides as well. Nutritionally speaking, leaves are worthless. There's no value in there, a nutritional value. And there has never been an animal capable to digest leaves. So when they're eating, they're not like feeding themselves directly. These animals, they have a symbiosis with bacteria. They have bacteria inside their stomach. These bacteria, through the process of fermentation, will give something more valuable to the sloth. That's where they get most of the energy and the nutrients from, basically. So this process, the fermentation process, is quite slow, you might say. It's the same one we use for making yogurt or beer. And yeah, because of that, the sloth needs to maintain their food in their stomach for a while. Because yeah, that will give time to the bacteria to do their work. And for that reason, they have a slow metabolism, which is the main reason why they tend to have slow movements. So yeah, as I said, I don't like to say that they are slow. Um, but yeah, I mean, the thing is that they rather to save energy, and that's why they tend to have slow movements. But these animals can be quite fast if they want to. Now, just let me show you. Oh no, I can do that later. So yeah, as I was saying, these animals can be quite fast, um, especially when they feel threatened. So yeah, as I said, they are quite dangerous and aggressive. So the canines teeth that they have are really sharp, and because of the bacteria that these animals has in their stomach, and a soft bite can get infected easily. It is really nasty, actually, and a soft bite. But it's not like the only thing that makes them kind of dangerous animals. Also, their claws are really sharp. I mean, they have been able to rip off dogs' bellies, for example. And also, since they are arboreal animals, they live in treetops. The pulling strength and the grip they have it really developed. So they are super strong and they can break someone's arm easily. So actually, if you ever have the chance, look for a video, maybe in YouTube, of an sloth angry. That will change your whole perspective about these animals. And yeah, still, they are amazing, fascinating creatures, and we still need to learn about a lot about these animals. Actually, despite we work with them, there's a lot of information that we don't have yet. For example, their lifespan. We don't know how long they can live. Actually, the book says that they can live between 25 to 30 years, but I don't believe that someone has followed an entire sloth life. And secondly, the oldest living sloth is one that lives in a zoo in Germany, and it's 52 years old. As I told you, these animals they have an slow metabolism, and if you think about it, animals with slow metabolism tends to live a really long time. For example, turtles. So yeah, we expect to have these guys with us a really long time as well. Now, I want to continue by showing you the princess of this place. That beauty sleeping there, her name is Millie, and she is the first sloth and first mammal to ever arrive here. So we started working in the year 2004 with birds, mostly toucans, but with birds in general. But in the year 2007, everything changed when this cutie arrived here. So Leslie, the founder of this place, Leslie Howe, she went to a rescue center that was the only one working with sloths at the time. And she fell in love with sloths. I mean, who would? And yeah, she gave it a lot of thought. And at the end, she agreed with the wildlife police to take care of one adult sloth, to rehabilitate it, and then to release it. But they arrived with Millie, who was just 3 weeks old. In this cardboard box, she was this cute ball of fur. And yeah, Leslie, she was like really worried about taking care of Millie because it was her first one and there wasn't too much information about sloths at the time. So actually, when the wildlife police gave Millie to Leslie, they told her to not get too attached because orphan baby sloths were destined to die due to the few information that we had at the time. But yep, Millie proved them wrong. So actually, the name Millie is short for milagro, and that's Spanish for miracle. So that's what Millie is. She is a miracle. And well, after Millie arrived this handsome sloth here, who's Milo. Milo is the second sloth to ever arrive. So actually, he used to live with his mom at the campus of the University of Costa Rica. There's actually a population there. And well, sadly, Milo's mom was like really sick. And one day she fell from the tree and sadly she passed away. She died. And well, Milo, he was an orphan. So we rescued him, rehabilitated him, but still He was like the second sloth to ever arrive here, he and Millie. And yeah, because we didn't have too much information about sloths at the moment, they got imprinted. They got used to people. But thanks to these sloths, now we have the Saving Sloths Together program. That is a program that we have with the Sloth Institute, where we have orphan baby sloths that we raise and rehabilitate with the aim of returning them back to the wild when they're strong and independent enough. So actually, in a few moments, I can go to show you some babies and some teenagers, maybe as well. And well, uh, as I told you, these animals they have a slow metabolism. Because of that, it takes up to a week to digest just one meal. For the same reason, they defecate once per week. Now, for doing this, it's pretty weird. Sloths they descend to the ground. They live in trees, up in a tree, but they descend to defecate. And actually, no one knows why they do this. There are several hypotheses, but none has been proved like 100% yet. So, if you ever see an sloth in the wild, you're going to see probably they have this kind of like green color on their fur, and this is because of an algae. An algae. There's an algae that grows specifically in their furry coat, and there's a hypothesis that explains why they descend to the ground, and it's related to that algae. So there are also moths that lives in their fur. Actually, the sloths are like a walking ecosystem. There's a lot of different animals living in their fur, and yeah, this hypothesis says that the moth fertilizes the algae that grows in the sloth fur, and the sloth eats that algae. So that's like the benefit the sloth gets. But the same hypothesis explains that the sloth descends to the ground and defecates there, so the moth can lay the eggs on the feces, which is the only way they can lay the eggs. So that's the benefit the moth gets. But still, it's a hypothesis, it hasn't been proven. And actually, in May, no, sorry, it was in March of 2020, when a Costa Rican biologist published another theory explaining why they go to the bathroom underground. He says that this behavior comes from the Asian sloths, that were these giant sloths that used to live on the ground. And of course, they defecated on the ground. So this biologist, he says that as they were evolving, they didn't have to change this because there wasn't any pressure on them. So yeah, despite in theory they are more vulnerable on the ground, the reality is that attacks to sloths on the ground aren't that common. So yeah, basically he says that they didn't need to fix something that wasn't broken, right? But still hasn't been proved. And yeah, they live most of the rest of their life in treetops, where they even mate and give birth. So actually, the way they give birth is pretty crazy. The first thing an sloth does in this life, it's literally bungee jumping. So the baby just comes out and falls but hangs from the umbilical cord, and then the mom will pull it up. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Sometimes the mom will take a position like where she's able to catch it immediately, but yeah, some other times they start their life with a little bit of adrenaline. And well, luckily today all these sloths are really active. This species, the two-fingered sloth, they are nocturnal animals. You might see them awake during the day, but they're way more active at night. But yeah, luckily it's like a good moment to see these animals. And yeah, in Costa Rica we have two different species. We have the two-fingered sloth and three-fingered sloth. Now, in English, they also receive the name two-toed or three-toed. And I'm not really a fan of those names because the difference is always in the number of fingers that they have on their hands, not on their feet. So yeah, all these species of sloths has 3 toes or 3 digits on their back wings. And yeah, there are 6 different species, 4 of 3-fingered and 2 of 2. In Costa Rica, we have 1 of each. Right? And well, here we have Milo and Neely again. So, as I said, they defecate on the ground, but that's not like the only activity that they don't do in treetops. So I know sloths, they don't look like great swimmers, but they really are. You know, floatings are something like really common in the tropical rainforest. So sometimes they they take a swim. So yeah, actually they even use this as a self-defense mechanism. For example, when a predator like a harp eagle wants to attack an sloth, when the sloth realizes it, it simply drops itself into the water. And yeah, they're faster in water, so it is a really great advantage that they have. That helps them to stay safe from natural hazards, but not so much from accidents related to human causes. The main reasons why we receive sloths are uh, cars, accidents with cars, you know, that they get run over by cars, um, also dogs attacks, and electrocution will be like the most common one. So 70 to 80% of the sloths that we receive here, they arrive due to electrocution. And well, I don't know. Is there any questions so far? Should I continue with the babies, maybe?
Yeah, head to the babies, Isaac. We've got a question in the chat, but what we'll do is we'll do a big Q&A at the end with everyone together because we got people chomping at the bit to ask you all sorts of stuff.
Awesome. All right, great.
Yeah.
So yeah, now I'm heading where we have the babies. And yeah, the thing is that we also have like on-site tours. We receive people here, but we're allowed to show them just the sanctuary part where we have just permanent residents. The babies, we have them on the rescue center part, and by law, we're not allowed to show that part to public because, of course, we don't want these animals to get stressed or to get used to people because these ones are going to be really wild, or at least that's like what we expect. Now, before showing you the babies, I want to show you something really cool. So, as I told you, electrocution is like a huge problem with sloths. 70 to 80% of the sloths that arrives here arrives due to electrocution. And well, that's because in Costa Rica we have like these power lines, but we have been working with the electrical company here in Costa Rica to develop devices like these ones. So this is made of plastic, and as you can see, it spins. So this is to avoid sloths to keep walking on the power line. So the sloth will get here, and they won't be able to pass this. And if they could, if they would, I mean, um, this will stop them as well. So yeah, it seems that it's working. So yeah, that's great. And well, now with the babies. I think they're sleeping, but that's not a problem.
Sleeping babies are actually our favorite thing, Isaac, so we're very excited.
Awesome, yeah. So yeah, here we have uh, Tabitha and Pringle, 2 babies, 2 fingers sloth. So yeah, as I said, we have this really great program, the Saving Sloths Together program, where we raise these animals with the aim of returning them back to the wild. But to accomplish this, we need to expose them here to natural conditions, such as wood, vines, leaves, hanging beds. So yeah, we built these structures here, as you can see. So they will they can learn how to climb and how to eat leaves and stuff like that. So every newborn that arrives here has to go through 5 stages before being rewild. Those stages are preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school, and then finally college. So we take education pretty serious around here. And yeah, the thing is that we give like a different focus on each stage. So, for example, the sloths that are newborns to 3 months old, they start on preschool, and the focus is just on growing and drinking their milk. Sloths are lactose intolerant animals. We can't give them cow's milk like the one we drink because they will have a severe diarrhea that could even lead them to death. So yeah, we are really careful with that. We give them goat's milk, mix it with Pedialyte. So yeah, that's like awesome for sloths. And yeah, when they are 3 months to 6 months old, they continue on preschool. Sorry, on elementary school. And yeah, in elementary school, they will continue growing, and also they will get like more practice on climbing, becoming more independent, and yeah, always staying close to the nursery for warm milk. They also start tasting various solid food, but isn't the main diet yet until they go to middle school. So that's when they have ages between 6 months to 1 year old. And yeah, solids make up most of their diet at that point. And yeah, they continue getting more practice on climbing, becoming more independent, and becoming more nocturnal. So yeah, these ones you can see that are really nocturnal. They go for it. And yeah, um, when they are in high schools, when they have ages between 1 year to 1 year and a half, the focus is on winning off completely of milk and to continue getting more practice and climbing, especially inside the classroom enclosure. So we put them in the classroom enclosure. There is an enclosure that is outside, and yeah, they will spend more time outside, on the branches, on the trees, becoming a little bit more wild. And yeah, finally, when the big day arrives, when they go to college, when they break our hearts but make us feel so proud at the same time. So right now I'm in the headquarters, but we have another property that is the release site. So that is located on the Caribbean slope of the country here in Costa Rica, like hour and a half away from where I am. And yeah, there in the release site, we put the slots that are in college inside the pre-release enclosures. There are enclosures where they will spend all day, all night outside with the weather, with environmental changes, eating more wild food, almost total independence in the wild. And yeah, after this long process that could take up to 2 years, they graduate, get their diploma, and are ready to start a new life back in the trees. So when this program is really successful, 90% of the slots that are started on this program get successfully wild. So it's something that we are really proud of. Oh, I think saw someone moving. There he is. There she is, Winnie. And yeah, when they get rewild, we do two types of releases of rewildings. We do the soft release part and the hard release. When they're inside the pre-release enclosure, we will open the gate and the sloth will get out of it whenever it wants. So that is what we call a soft release. When it's ready, of course, right? And yeah, the sloth will stay near the facilities of the release site. And we will keep an eye on that sloth. If it's doing well, we will take it and we will do what is called a hard release, where basically we lost the sloth really deep in the forest at some national park or someplace like that. And yeah, that is like the completely successful release, right?
Fantastic, Isaac. And by the way, what good timing for our friend here to be coming out and waking up just as we are near the end of the broadcast before we dive into questions. Um, it gets
All
me
right,
every time, every single time. Isaac, are you good to take questions from our audience now?
for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we've got all sorts of live classes with us. Welcome into our YouTube groups as well. If you are on YouTube, let us know where you're joining from. We've already got some questions there. But let's head to Miss Benoit's class in Cordes, Ontario. If you guys want to kick us off, just unmute your mic at Good Shepherd, and you are good to go. Hey, guys. Hey, 2-3s, welcome in. Unmute, yes. There we are. Hi.
Do they ever have bats?
Do they ever have baths? Yeah, great question.
Do they ever have bats? Do you mean like the flying
Yeah.
mallard?
Do they
All
ever
right.
wash themselves?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If they ever get attacked like by bats, do you mean? That
Yeah,
was the
like,
question. Yeah.
do you guys ever
Okay.
bath them? Do you ever like wash them and get them cleaner or not?
Wash. All right. So no. Yeah. So no. Actually, I don't know if you saw that they were like scratching. That's like an activity that they love to do, and yeah, that scratch is like some sort of cleaning that they do. Yeah, I know it seems that we wash them and we dry their hair, but no.
It's a fun image to think about, but not happening at the rescue ranch.
Exactly.
Miss Lackey's class, let's do our 5th graders in Freehold, New Jersey. If you guys want to come on in for a question, you're good to go. Hey, guys.
Do they break off from their families at a certain age, like birds and other animals?
Yeah, great question. So, Isaac, in case you didn't catch that, do they leave their families when they have baby sloths? Do the sloths stay with their moms for a while? When do they leave their families and go off on their own?
All right. So actually, sloths, they're solitary animals. They rather to live alone, and the mom will have her baby, right? And will stay with the baby for a year and a half, and then she will abandon the baby. And actually, that's how they learn to live alone.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad that as people, we have a little bit longer with our families than a year and a half, but sloths are pretty independent. They can do it from a very young age.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've got a couple classes that their devices are off. So Miss Palmatier's class, welcome in today, guys, in Lindsay, Ontario. Their question was, how do you tell the females from the males? Earlier you had 2 together. How can you tell which one is which?
All right. So that is something really difficult. I can tell the difference between some individuals that we have here because yeah, I've been working here for a while and I love these animals. But yeah, if are like total strangers for me, it's really difficult to tell the difference. I mean, I will have to look at their private parts, and that's something that the slots don't like. So yeah, it's different.
No, that's good to know because we have this question about all sorts of animals if there's like a really obvious difference. So if you guys came to the Toucan Rescue Ranch and people can visit in person if you ever get the chance in Costa Rica, you wouldn't be able to really naturally tell them. I think that's a great question. Miss Jonathan's class, let's head to Peterborough, Ontario. If you guys have a question, come on in and take it away. Hey, guys.
Where do the sloths come from?
Yeah, where do you get the sloths, Isaac?
Okay.
Awesome. So almost everywhere from the country, we're located in the Central Valley, and yeah, sloths they come all over the country. The wildlife police are the ones that brings us the sloths, and yeah, just for the record, all of the sloths that we have here are orphans, right? Either because of their mother died or abandoned them. We don't breed them here.
We always get that question. I like it every time. So thanks, Miss Jonathan's class. Mr. Margaret, let's head to Cyril Varney, grade 4s, if you guys have one. Come on in.
Hola,
Hola.
mi pregunta es, ¿por qué tienen perezosos ahí?
Okay. So, well, I'm going to answer it in Spanish and then in English, all right? Okay, so tenemos perezosos porque los bebés, porque los abandonan la mamá, ya sea que ella se murió o lo simplemente abandonó al bebé, lastimosamente es algo bastante común. Y los adultos llegan muchos por que los ataca un perro o que los atropella un carro o se electrocutan en las líneas de alta tensión. Entonces, sí, esas son las razones principales. Okay, so he just asked me why we have sloths here. Basically, the babies, because yeah, they were abandoned by their mothers or their mother died, sadly. And in the case of the adults, because they got attacked by dogs or run over by cars or electrocutions. Those are like the common reasons. Yeah.
So, first of all, thank you so much for asking a question in Spanish and for answering it in Spanish. I must say, I don't understand a word that was being said up until you translated, but it just sounds so nice. It's the best language. All right, Miss H's class, you guys have been staying in the chat too, so let's take a question from you guys. So many questions. Wow, so many of you guys. Do sloths fight other sloths? You talked about how they can be pretty powerful with dogs and other things. Do a sloth ever fight another sloth?
Exactly. That's why we keep them alone, separated, because yeah, especially between males. Actually, it's really weird to see two sloths together in the same tree.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. All right. I've noticed that in the enclosures that they tend to be in different areas. Very cool. Miss Fabio's class, welcome in, guys. If you guys have a question there in Thunder Bay, just unmute your mic and you're good to go. Hey.
Come over here. How heavy are they?
How heavy are they, Isaac?
So actually, they're not really heavy. Most of their body is fur. Uh, the the heaviest that we have here will be Ty, that we saw him, and he weighs 7 kilos, 200 grams. I'm sorry because I don't know how much is that in pounds, but yeah, around 7 kilos.
7 kilos is about 16, 17 pounds, something like that. It's 2.2 to 1, I want to say, offhand. So bigger than I would have thought they were. That always surprises me how much larger sloths are than I expect them to be. Suzanne, Games group, if you guys want to share a question live, and then I'll take a few from YouTube and go back through everybody one more time, okay? Suzanne, welcome in.
Hi. We would like to know if sloths always have the same partner.
Yeah, so Isaac, do they stay with the same partner for their lives like as a mated couple, or do they split off and go to different sloths to have babies?
So yeah, they don't have like the same partner for all their life. The male will spend just like a brief time with the female during the breeding season, and yeah, after the female raises one sloth, she will look for another one to breed again, and yeah, could be different.
All right. We are doing so fast with these questions, Isaac. You're amazing at this. So I'm going to take a few from YouTube, and then we'll go back to our live groups in a second. Miss Arrow's group wants to know, at what age do the sloths grow the algae on their coat? Or do they have it from birth? Do they have it from 1 year old? Do we know?
All right. So actually, whichever age. So yeah, as soon as an algae founds them, basically.
Okay, perfect. We're ripping through these questions. You answered that one in 2 seconds flat. All right. So again, sort of a family question from our grade 7 group in Peterborough. They want to know, do sloths typically live with their families in the wild or not? So we've established they never live with their families. No sloths do that. They're all independent. Yes?
Exactly.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Let's take a couple more. Adrian in Miss Avakian's class wants to know, how much do the babies sleep? We have a sleeping baby in front of us right now. How long do they stay asleep every day?
Actually, it's sloths in general, the babies and adults, they don't sleep that much. As I said, there's like this huge misconception about sloths. People usually picture them as super lazy, but no, they sleep between 10 to 15 hours per day. I've slept more than 10 hours more than once in my life. I'm not gonna judge them. So yeah.
I slept more than 10 hours on the weekend, so I'm just like a sloth. I feel that way.
Yep.
Great question from Arthur in grade 2. Why do they get electrocuted so much? Are there electric fences? Are they climbing power wires? I know this is a big issue for the sloths there. Why is that happening so much?
Exactly. Yeah. So they climb on the power wires that we have here in Costa Rica. Deforestation, that's a problem everywhere, and yeah, sometimes they don't have like a tree where they can live, and they climb the power line, and that's when electrocutions happens.
Yeah, just like again in sort of Canada, the US, with the big audience today, you see your power lines that are right by your house. Maybe the squirrels climb up those. Sloths do the same thing, and if they touch 2 wires at the same time, maybe when they're reaching, you can have that electric shock. And so, good thing that the Toucan Rescue Ranch is there to help take care of them and make sure that they can get back to the forest. Guys, let's dive back into our live groups. We're having a lot of fun. I know we have more questions than we could possibly answer in one broadcast. And so I will note, if you don't get your question answered by the end, toucanrescueranch.org is like the best site ever to learn all about the sloths, all about the other animals there, and you can keep the learning going when we're done. But let's head back to Ms. Benoit's group for one more question. Come on back in, guys.
Are sloths' claws sharp?
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, yeah, they are quite sharp. That's why it's so important to keep a distance and to respect any sloth if you ever see one, because yeah, those things are dangerous.
It's been really funny for me, Isaac, because I've been doing programs with you guys for like 5 years now. And over the last year, you've really tried to emphasize that sloths are not to be messed with in the wild. They have really sharp claws. They're faster than you expect them to be. They can really do quite a bit of damage. So I'm really glad you got that question.
Yeah.
Miss Lackey's class, come on back in for another one. Hey, guys.
When you release sloths to the wild, is there a certain place or location you usually set them free at?
Yeah, so Isaac, you mentioned this before a little bit, but is there a certain place when you do release them to the forest for the final time? Is there a special place you go, or is it different places in the forest all over the place?
Okay, so yeah, different places. If we receive an sloth that came from the Caribbean, for example, we will try to put it back to the Caribbean when it's rehabilitated, right? And if we have like baby that came out of nowhere, well, we have like certain places, but yeah, we like are very careful because we don't want to have like an overpopulation in a specific place. So yeah, we distribute them basically.
Fantastic. I was glad we got that question too. Okay, Miss H, I know your devices aren't working, but I love that you're sharing questions in the chat. Is there a specific type of leaf that they eat there, or do they eat a wide variety of things? I know we talked about this before, but just to emphasize again, Isaac.
For sure, yeah. So yeah, they don't eat like any leaf that they want. I mean, there are like certain leaves that they eat, but actually it's a large variety. So from mango to cacao, there's cecropia trees as well. There's one that in Costa Rica we call guarumo, a sloth guarumo. So yeah, there are like several leaves.
Don't tempt me with the mango and cacao. That sounds like a delicious breakfast to me. Miss Jonathan's class, let's head back to you guys. We're going to take a few more questions from our live groups. Come on in. Take your time. All good.
How much do they eat?
How much do they eat a day, Isaac?
All right, so yeah, that is a really great question. Like a number specifically, it's difficult for me to tell you, but I would say that they eat a lot. As I said, leaves, they don't have like too much nutrients and energy, so they need to be constantly eating. And yeah, I will think that my answer will be a lot.
Yeah, so I think the closest analogy for some of our Canadian classes today is we've all seen Canadian geese walking along, just eating grass forever. So that's sort of what sloths have to do. We're able to get a lot more energy from our food because we cook it. We have really simple guts. If you're something like a sloth, you need to eat a lot to make sure that you have enough nutrients to keep yourself going. So this is true of both sloths and a lot of creatures. More eating, more time of the day eating, more time digesting. I always love that question. All right, Mr. Markrick's class, come on back in, and we'll go two more after that before we wrap up. Hey, guys.
Hi, my name is Kashmi, and I wanted to ask, why did you choose to work with animals, and how many animal species do you have at the Toucan Rescue Ranch?
Nice question. Hey, guys.
Right. So, wow, why do I have to choose to work with animals? I guess I don't know. Since I was a little kid, I always loved animals, and my whole family it's involved with these topics. So yeah, it's something that I feel really passionate about it. And well, here at the ranch, we have around 200 individuals, and woof, the number of species, I guess over 100 species.
Wow, that is wild. I mean, sorry, it's always so amazing to hear the sort of diversity of things you have. Now, a lot of those are smaller creatures, but we always love the chance to see some of these bigger guys like our sloths. And I love that story. So many of our kids are so passionate about animals. That's why we're all here today. And so, guys, if you guys are keen in your future, if you want to work at wildlife shelters, amazing places like the Toucan Rescue Ranch, you can absolutely do that and become like Isaac. And if you do, I'd love to host a program with you in the future. We'll have a lot of fun. Miss Fazio, I'm going to come to you first, and we'll take one from Suzanne to wrap up in a minute. But come on in, great boys. Hey.
I have a question. Is there like a maximum height they can climb?
There's right, like a maximum height.
Yeah,
Right.
how high can they go? Perfect.
All right. So actually, it's pretty normal to see them in treetops at the highest part of the tree, because sloths. I don't know if I mentioned this, but they are terrible regulating their body temperature. They depend a lot on the environmental temperature. So it's pretty normal to see sloths taking sunbaths up in a tree.
That's what I would do if I could climb to the top of the tree. Now, you are a little vulnerable to predators up there, and I've seen that play out as well. But I certainly love the question. The higher the tree, the higher the sloth will go. Great query, guys. One we got on YouTube as well. All right, Miss Games class, we'll wrap up with you guys and then share a little going, everybody. But back in Ottawa. Hi, guys.
Hi. So we would like to know why they have such big noses.
Yeah, what's in the nose, Isaac?
Sorry, could you repeat one more time the question? The thing is that I have the macaws right next to me and they're so loud.
That's okay. The question was, why do they have such big noses? Kind of unusual.
Oh, that's because their sense of smell is amazing. So their eyesight is terrible. They have monochromatic vision. They just see in black and white. But yeah, they have those huge nose because their sense of smell it's really developed. And yeah, it kind of helps them to smell better. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, your macaw is very active now.
Yeah.
Good timing again. Well, Isaac, thank you so much for all of this. Again, for all of at Toucan Rescue. The macaw wants to say a big thank you too. But Isaac, what we're going to do to wrap up, again, for our classes, if you want to do our Kahoot challenge, I'll just put you in the background for a second. For our classes, our Kahoot challenge is on the screen. If you want to do a 16-question quiz and see how much you heard when Isaac was talking to the program today, check that out after the broadcast is done. And Isaac, what we do to wrap up every broadcast to be just as loud as your macaw friend, I'm going to bring in all our classes to say a big thank you and farewell. So, Good Shepherd, Miss Blackie, Miss North, Mr. Markwick, Miss Fazio,